Twitter's Jack Dorsey is going even more decentralized. Is this a good thing? Seems like University of Phoenix is a liar, but maybe this is just a sign of the times of our current educational system. And last but not least, we'll be covering, well, Toys R Us is back from the dead, rise from the grave. But one of the problems when you come back from the dead, you end up maybe becoming a zombie. That and more on today's Venture Daily, presented by VC Hunting and hosted by me, Peter Saddington. In our long article commentary, we're going to be covering a great article that I think is important for all of us to remember, especially as founders and venture capitalists, that it's better to fail today than be perfect tomorrow. Let's get into it. Is Twitter bidding for a social network standard? Well, Jack Dorsey's plan to fund a open source network standard left many people scratching their heads as what Twitter's CEO hopes to accomplish. Twitter is under pressure to better crack down on bots, hate speech, and misinformation, but it is unclear how open standards will help address any of these issues. In a series of tweets, Dorsey said that Blue Sky, quote, Blue Sky is the new project to create an open, decentralized social network standard that Twitter might ultimately use itself. Quote, Twitter is funding a small independent team of up to 5 open source architects, engineers, and designers to develop an open and decentralized standard for social media, Dorsey said. The goal is for Twitter to ultimately be a client of this standard. The question that I have to ask is, will Twitter truly be decentralized, or will it be mostly just a centralized system that looks decentralized while, at least marketing-wise, get all the benefits of crypto and decentralization, but really not be decentralized? Let me know your thoughts down below. The University of Phoenix is a liar. Yes, that's true, guys. We'll just go into it. The University of Phoenix recently agreed to a $191 million. That's right. $191 million settlement with the Federal Trade Commission after it was accused of advertising so fraudulent that even the university's own executives described it as smoke and mirrors. Ooh, own executives. As part of the settlement, the once massive for-profit university will pay $50 million penalty to the FTC and cancel $141 million of debts owed by the students who enrolled in the university between 2012 and 2016. Wow, that's a big cha-ching, man. Cha-ching and a yay. According to the complaint the FTC filed in 2012, the university started running TV and online ads touting corporate partnerships with companies including Tweeters, Microsoft, Yahoo, and AT&T. But as Twitter and other companies are quick to point out, those partnerships never actually existed.
Nope.
Enrollment peaked at Phoenix in 2010 with more than 460,000 students. Enrollment has fallen to only 97,000 students. On top of that, the physical campuses have dwindled from a high of more than 500 to just a couple dozen. Ouch. That hurts. And so the question I have to ask you guys here, and some of you guys know, is higher education reaching a tipping point? Have we moved to a point where higher education is actually not valuable anymore? With the rise of all sorts of systems like Code Academy, Khan Academy, free online courses. I've said this before in other podcasts, but I'll say it here again. Ignorance today, in today's internet world, ignorance today is really a choice. And as a believer of self-education, I'm self-educated myself. As a believer in self-education, I truly think that universities, in many ways, in its traditional form today, is on its way out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Last but not least, Toys R Us is back, but maybe it's just been zombified and turned into Big Brother. George Orwell maybe wasn't too wrong when it comes to his book of 1984. Well, after racking up $5 billion in debt, Toys R Us in 2017 filed for bankruptcy, as many of you guys well know. Bankruptcy protection and shuttered 800 plus stores. But now backed by private equity, the retailer has opened 2 new mall locations, a flagship in New Jersey and another in Texas. Why doesn't that surprise me? I mean, everything's bigger in Texas. Well, accordingly, this zombified Toys R Us is more like Big Brother than anything else. A new aspect of the Toys R Us 2.0 is a video monitoring system supplied by the startup Beta and powered by the surveillance biggie Retail Next. Brick and mortar stores have long used surveillance to nab shoplifters, but this new technology tracks consumer behavior to inform future marketing efforts. The tech can also be used to monitor children's activity. Probably not a great idea. A potential violation under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, a digital privacy law that protects children under 13. Retail Next says that its in-depth camera sensing technology skip over people under 4 feet tall and blur facial imagery to protect anonymity. However, according to the CDC, it's not unusual for boys to hit 5 feet by the age of 10, meaning that some children's activity could still be included in Toys R Us marketing data. And if you wonder why I chuckled in the middle of that article, the reason I chuckled is because when I was in high school, my friends, I literally went to school with man-childs, like literally man-childs. These kids were like 12, 13, 14, 15 years old with full-ass beards. I mean, excuse my French, but like, I had like a 15-year-old. His name. I'm not even gonna be ashamed. I'm just gonna tell you his name. His name was Grolchek. Okay, he's probably not watching, and that's okay. And all the people I went to high school with probably aren't watching, and that's okay as well. But this kid's name was Grolchek. I mean, if you have a name like Grolchek, I mean, you just sound like you have a full beard and you're 6'5" at 14 years old, right? So maybe this Toys R Us, technology ain't gonna be working out so great. And that's 3 of today's news bits brought to you by Venture Daily. Let's get on to the commentary. True startup story time. Guys, as a founder, I'm often asked, what are my go-to tools and technology that I use as a beginner startup? Well, that's easy. One of them is Dropbox. Dropbox is the easiest way to ensure that all your files and documents are synced on all devices, whether it be mobile, your local desktop, or remote. We want to thank Dropbox for supporting vchunting.com, and make sure to get your 30-day trial free at dropbox.com/business. Today's article comes from Inc.com, why it's better to fail today than be perfect tomorrow. This title caught my attention, and I talk about this a lot. I think it's important to execute first. Execute. 1% daily. Keep going, keep building. The only way you're going to learn is by doing. Don't worry about tomorrow. I know I'm already prognosticating. I'm already talking about this, and we haven't even read the article, but let's get into it. No, waiting to start your big idea won't be better. That's true. It actually decreases the chances of your business succeeding. Here's why you should start today. I completely agree. Have high hopes for the new year. Be careful that you don't invest too much time into something that won't be remarkably different. Even the biggest cynic believes things will get better tomorrow. I'll be able to have more of an influence if I just had more time. Or I'd be able to start this idea if I just had the kids out of the house. Or I'd be able to leave my dead-end job if I just had more customers. These are the type of excuses that run through our brain all the time. The ideal tomorrow will never come. In the rare chance that it does come, then you remove your goal to another idealistic environment. If you are stuck, this may be why. And probably the reason is because we'd rather complain and spend time ruminating in our own brains than actually putting our feet on the ground and doing the work. I've talked a lot about this before. The resistance is always you versus you. You have momentum. Have something you want or even to pursue. It's only going to get more difficult to start in the future. There are 2 big reasons. First, now you have momentum. At the genesis of an idea, we have the biggest spark, and like a star being born, the rest of the time is spent losing energy and the inevitable death. Well, that's not depressing at all. Jeez. In your case, it's the death of your idea. I had what I believed were great ideas. I was so passionate about them, so confident in their world-changing ability that I thought the momentum would last forever. Today, the only reason I remember them is because I wrote them down. I didn't do anything with them, and to paraphrase Elizabeth Gilbert's excellent Big Magic, the ideas moved on to someone else who would do something with them. This is 100% true. If you have a great idea and you're not going to execute on it, someone else eventually will. And it's kind of it's kind of gangster. It's kind of gangster when I hear people tell me stuff like, "I had that idea. I had the idea for Uber." It's like, you had the idea for Uber? Why didn't you build it, bro? You have time. This is important. I already think I know what they're going to be talking about here. You also have more time and perhaps more energy than you will have likely in any other period of time in the future. Some of my younger coaching clients believe they are too busy in their late teen or early 20s to start something new. My middle-aged clients would laugh at the younger group, but often say the same thing, which sounds absurd to my senior clients who are clearly running out of time. Everyone worries about running out of time today, but aren't realizing that they are really running out of time tomorrow. The first layer is what Laura Vanderkam calls time dividend. As I mentioned recently, and she shared in her book Off the Clock, consistently working on a craft or building an audience now creates the kind of compound interest in your results. In my case, I've written hundreds of columns for you to read, and sharpening those skills, honing those ideas, and gaining your trust created the foundation for best-selling books. I wish my second book was best-selling. Oh, wait, it was on Amazon in 2012. Coaching businesses and worldwide keynotes. Those things require time to build. Absolutely. I can't say this enough. There's a quote, right? You guys know the quote. The best time to plant a tree is now, and the second best time is, I messed it up. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday, and the second best time is now? Something like that. But here's the point. If you guys realize this, and sometimes, and I don't mind repeating it. Frankly, I don't mind repeating myself multiple times, especially for you venture capitalists out there and founders and entrepreneurs that are trying to help create something or help build something. We have to start. We have to go. You have to do it today. Don't start tomorrow. Tomorrow ain't here yet. Start today. Begin now. You don't know what you don't know, and you frankly don't know whether anyone wants what you have, wants what you're building, wants what you're offering. No, you have no idea. You have to execute. You have to build it and see if people want it. The second layer is the natural increasing complexity of our lives as we get older. Most high school students don't have rent or a mortgage, just as early 20-somethings don't have offspring going to college, just as 30-somethings don't have to immediately fund retirement. All these groups have no age-related issues or illnesses occurring in middle-aged and up crowd. When I was much younger, I pulled together my pennies to see the world. Some friends said they would travel when they got older, when it would get easier, they said. The assumption was that they would have time, they would have the freedom, and most notably, they would have the perfect health. Decades later, some of them never left home. And I bet that you know people in your life, now that all of us, at least I'm closer to 40 than 30 now, that, we know people that have never left. They had big dreams, they had big ideas. Well, they never executed. Assuming we know the future is a false assumption. Let me say that again. Assuming that we know the future is a false assumption. As Seth Godin puts it, this should be very reassuring. It means now is the very best moment for you to start your movement. It will not get any better. You might as well start right now. And that's today's color commentary. It is important. And I'm always stressing this, and I'm always pushing, I'm always encouraging, hopefully inspiring people to build, create. The world needs you. The world needs your idea. You're the only one that can be you. You're the only one with the way that you're going to execute that idea. Even if that idea, as I talked about yesterday, someone's already built upon. Your uniqueness, your personality, your flair, your character can be exactly what the world needs. And when I say the world, don't let's not get it twisted here, guys. When I say the world, I'm not talking about the big wide world. I'm talking about a niche set of customers, a niche set of users that can help you build what you want and can have desires for what you want or what you're building. You only need 1,000 raving fans, as I talked about yesterday. That's really all you need.
Did you know that there's even more value than just audio or video? Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at VC Hunting, and make sure to sign up for the VC Hunting newsletter, where you'll be able to get weekly news on venture capital, startups, founder stories, and the occasional wisdom extracted from Peter's brain. Go to vchunting.com to sign up. And now, back to the episode.
All right, and today's venture deals for December 13, 2019, let's go over them. Order, a Santa Clara, California-based provider of an AI-based systems control engine for businesses, raised $27.5 million in a Series B funding. Congratulations. Battery Ventures led the round. Bridge Connector, a Palm Beach Gardens, Florida-based technology company offering data-driven workflow automation to solve health IT interoperability challenges, raised $25 million in funding. Congratulations. I'm seeing a lot more tech automation stuff with IT and health. I'm seeing a lot of that. So if you're into that, might be a good time to start building in it. Lean DNA, an Austin-based prescriptive analytics platform for factory management, raised $15 million in a Series B funding. S3 Ventures led the round. Sunday, a Thailand-based full-stack insurtech, is that for insurance? Raised $11 million in further Series A funding. Congratulations. Kona Capital led the round. This insurtech, this is a new word, guys. I learned a new word today. Insurtech. Insurtech. Let me move this over here so you guys can see this. That's probably better, right? There we go. Insurtech. That's a new word. D-Wave, a Canada-based quantum computing startup, raised $10 million in funding from NEC. Congratulations. Motivo, an Atlanta... Oh! Okay, you guys know how I do. I always like to celebrate anything coming out of Georgia, anything coming out of Atlanta. Motivo, an Atlanta-based HIPAA-compliant video platform to connect clinical supervisors to mental health professionals, raised $2.2 million in seed funding. Congratulations. Cox Enterprise led the round. And you know what's so, I guess, funny to me is that they raised $2.2 million in seed funding, which is very like stereotypical for the South in terms of funding. I mean, we're not funding hundreds of millions. Well, we are, but we never get any of the big press. It's usually like small stuff. So it's just, I just find it to be funny. Motivo, $2.2 million. Go on with your bad self. Let's keep growing, Atlanta. Balloon, a San Francisco-based insight mobility platform, raised $2.1 million in seed funding. Ooh, nice. Launch and Wavemaker Partners co-led the round. Finline Technologies, which backed by Summit Partners, acquired Consolidated Printing Incorporated, a Van Buren, Arkansas-based provider for printed tickets for professionals and collegiate sporting events. Barton Creek Equity Partners made an investment in Flowbelow, an Austin-based supplier of proprietary aerodynamic technologies for Class A trucks. The Sterling Group made an investment in Bad Boy, a Batesville, Arkansas-based maker of lawnmowers. Ooh. Bad Boy lawnmowers. You're actually making me consider, yes, I'm clicking on this link. Bad Boy mowers. Look at this. Battle for Atlantis? These guys are so like social 2.0. Look at all these big pictures and all sorts of social stuff. Wow. I think I need to get me a Bad Boy. Get me one of these Bad Boys, guys. Bad Boy. Bad Boy mower. I'll never forget it now. That's the value of being part of being socialized, man. People talk about you. Centauri, which is backed by Arlington Capital Partners, acquired the design knowledge company and Pre-Talon. Financial terms weren't disclosed. Capital Spring recapitalized Connor Concepts, a Knoxville, Tennessee-based operator of restaurant brands, and the Chop House and Connor Steak and Seafood. Tower Arch Capital recapitalized Credency Energy Services, a Minot, North Dakota-based provider of production chemicals, acidizing services, and other custom solutions. Griffin Investors made a majority investment in Heartland Veterinary Partners, a Cream Ridge, New Jersey-based veterinary support organization. SL KKR made an investment with Duet AS, a Norway-based provider of software as a service solutions to professionals, accountants, and their clients. SolarWinds acquired Vivid Cortex. Ooh, that's a nice name. Vivid Cortex, a Charlottesville, Virginia-based provider of SaaS-delivered database performance management. And last but not least, RDN acquired a minority stake in NutriPack Group, a France-based packaging manufacturer for the food industry, from Credit Mutual Equity. Financial terms weren't disclosed. And this rounds out your venture deals for December 13th, 2019, guys. Money is being moved and ideas are being created. In our final segment of Peter Answers Any of Your Questions, I had another question from Maximilian, who responded immediately back in an email. And you know what? I just like answering this question because I hope it's helpful for all of you. Maximilian asked, well, seeing as I'm here now, in your opinion, what must the perfect pitch entail? Key points. And the ideal time it should take one to deliver. Thanks again. Once again, thanks for the content, and please keep it coming. Maximilian. Well, Maximilian, thanks so much for the response. I love answering these questions, and I love engaging with the community out there. So anyone out there, make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter. And when you get that newsletter, hit reply. And you'll get right into my email box so I can answer any questions that you might have around venture capital, founders, entrepreneurship, or the hustle. So your question, Maximilian, you talked about what does the perfect pitch entail? Well, I'm going to give you my answer. I'll just say it. There is no perfect pitch. And there's no perfect pitch template. Now, there are ideas around pitches. I'm sure you could Google a pitch template for a startup, or even a memo, which is becoming even a bigger idea now, an entire thesis-driven approach, kind of like an ICO, white paper of sorts, an entire memo of the idea. But I find that that your pitch or your memo or your deck has no value if you cannot communicate effectively your story. You see, pitches are crutches, right? Collateral like pitches are crutches. Collateral like memos are crutches. People use them because they're not great communicators. They're not great communicators of what they're actually doing, why it's important, why the investor needs to take notice, why customers should buy it, why users should use it. The problem is that most people spend time crafting these decks, crafting these PowerPoints, these keynotes, writing all this stuff down when they themselves have not been able or are not able to successfully and succinctly communicate their narrative, their story to an investor. Tell me, what's your narrative? What's your story? Why are you doing this? Why is this so important to you? Why are you on the fringe of sanity to do such an idea that others haven't done before? I want to know that. When I have people pitch to me, Max, one of the first things that I say almost every time after they've pitched to me is I tell them, you need to work on your story. You need to work on your narrative because you haven't excited me. You see, pitch decks and memos don't excite people. It's just text on a screen in different formats and mediums, right? You are the holder of the idea. You are the holder of that project. You are the holder of that startup. You need to be able to tell the story. I need to feel the excitement that you feel. And investors need that too. So here's the answer. Practice your narrative. Practice your pitch. Spend time talking to people about what you're doing and not worry about putting a deck together. Because the more that you communicate what you're doing, the better your narrative will get. The more that you'll figure out, hey, I tried this narrative, it didn't work on this investor. They weren't enthused, they weren't excited, but they really liked this. Let me talk more about that next time. Let me spend more time unpacking that idea so that I can get people excited. You see, so much of what we're building, it doesn't matter if it's a software product, or a service. So much of what you're building to serve others and to get paid for is unknown to you. You don't know what they truly want. And often what people want is merely the surface level. They say they want this, but they don't really want this. They need this. They need something else. And so you have to have these conversations. The more conversations that you have with other people, telling them and communicating your narrative, your story, the better as a storyteller you'll be. And you know, Max, and everyone out there listening knows that the best storytellers, I'm going to use an example here. It's maybe not a great example, but one of the best storytellers on the planet, period, bar none, is Dave Chappelle. I know you maybe thought that I wasn't going to go there, but man, Dave Chappelle knows how to tell a story. He knows how to set up the context. He knows how to set up the emotionality. He knows how to set up the crowd, get them emotionally engaged in whatever fake story that he's talking about, obviously to set up an epic drop of a punchline, right? Watch Dave Chappelle's comedy stand-ups. I don't think I've watched all of them, but I've probably watched damn near close to all of them. And I'll tell you, he's a master storyteller. And he never tells a story the same way. He never uses the same framework of let me set the scene, let me set the emotionality, let me set the context, let me set the build-up, let me set the climb. Like, he's able to weave and craft these narratives around these stories that regardless of how he enters into the equation, he's able to draw people to himself, get them emotionally into the moment. And when he drops the hammer of that punchline, we're all dying inside. And we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming because we could see the excitement building, even though his face is stoic. And he might have just dropped a line and he's like ready to give us the full brunt of the joke. And we know it's coming. We don't know what it's going to be, but we know it's coming and we know it's going to be great. Watching great storytellers is another great way to learn how to craft your own narrative, be able to communicate your own narrative, and be better at persuading. Now, the goal is not to persuade. The goal is to tell. But through your persuasive storytelling, people will ask you great questions. They'll be emotionally involved. They'll want to know more. And the more that they engage with you, the more you'll have practice to bleed out those nuances, those aesthetics, those juicy bits of why your startup, your idea is worth investing in and worth pursuing. Thanks, Maximilian, so much for the question. The last part of your question was what ideal time should it take to deliver? I don't know. You have to keep practicing to the point where you can sit in front of someone and they say, go, tell me, why should I invest in your idea? And you'll start with something like this. You know, that's a great question. Let me tell you a story. Thanks, guys, for being here in today's daily Venture Daily, guys. Venture Daily. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Have a great one, guys. And we'll see you again Monday. Oh, by the way, sign up for our newsletter. Follow us and stuff. You know the deal.